Thank you for joining us on this journey of awareness and compassion. Together, we can make a difference. This has been Fentanyl Solution, advocating for lives, inspiring change. Stay safe, and remember, you are the solution.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for listening to Fentanyl Solutions syndicated podcast and live stream. I'm Janice M. Celeste, your host and president and CEO of fentanylsolution.org and the Fentanyl Solution Group. Fentanyl Solutions is based in Orange County, California, but we're a nationwide nonprofit organization. I want to tell you and all of your followers about the show. So share this link because after all, sharing is caring. The replay of the show will be available after the broadcast. Know that our hashtag for the show is hashtag Fentanyl Solution. Now, in 2021, fentanyl was responsible for 86% of children's overdose deaths. And the law enforcement officers are now finding that fentanyl-laced drugs are in vape pens, which are often popular with teens. My guests today are Carolyn, Bradfield, CEO of InterAct Lifeline, and Amber Toth, CEO of Dragon Mobile. Both are moms, and they have technology companies that could possibly keep children safe from the fentanyl crisis. Welcome to both of you. Let's bring them on the show. So thank you guys for joining us. I am so happy to have you here. I want to start with Amber, if you can just briefly tell us about your product and how it can possibly keep children safe.
Okay. So our company is called Dragon Mobile, and it is a safe cell phone company for kids because we have our phones filtered to not have access to any type of browser capabilities or social media. So it's basic functions of calls, text messages, and approved apps. So through our company, we offer the service of communication and connecting kids to their parents, and anyone else that is necessary, but not the extra unnecessary stuff that kids don't need.
That's fantastic. So Carolyn, can you also tell us about your technology and your company and how you got started?
Okay, so my company is InterAct Lifeline, and the technology that we are bringing to the marketplace this fall is called Lifeline Connect. It will be the first mobile app to take data from your smartwatches and fitness trackers. And when those health-related data, like your heart rate, falls outside of the normal range, it will assume that you are at potential risk of overdosing. It will reach out to you and give you a very short window of time to tell us that you're okay, or you need help, or if it doesn't hear from you, it's going to simultaneously alert a list of your emergency contacts. The mobile app will geolocate you. It'll tell you exactly where, tell people where you are. Someone from the emergency contact list will pick that up and direct help over to you. In the event no one responds, we'll have a call center that backs that up that will send emergency help. So the whole goal is to detect overdose and get help quickly enough to reverse it. In addition to the monitoring service, we're offering quite a bit of education and support. So this program is surrounded by a very detailed and engaging digital portal that has content, articles, and videos on the risk of substance misuse, a better education on fentanyl, and other strategies that promote health and wellness. And we offer live support groups on issues that people are struggling with, whether it's cyberbullying, anxiety, depression, suicidal ideation. But the point is to create some personal connection so that you have someone to talk to and other people that can support you in your journey. So it's InterAct Lifeline, and the service is called Lifeline Connect.
Wow. I think that is absolutely wonderful. And I have lots of questions about both technologies. Now, just Carolyn, if you could just tell us that you have a story behind why you started this technology that I think is important for the audience, because And I also want to know, is this compatible with Apple Watches? How does that work?
Yeah. So I'll just answer the question about the devices it's compatible with. Any fitness tracker, whether it's Google, Garmin, Apple, any smartwatch, as long as it sends us data and can do so on a continuous basis, not every hour, but we need it all the time, is eligible to pair with our mobile app and give us the data. So most devices that you already know, Oura Ring, Garmin, Samsung, will work. As far as my own personal journey, I'm sure that as a nonprofit, you are painfully aware that between January 2021 and 22, we lost 107,000 Americans to overdose, the vast majority of them from opioids, and the vast majority of those deaths involve fentanyl. So in my own situation, my daughter, who was 29 years old, suffered from substance misuse and addiction for 15 years. Unfortunately, she made a life-changing decision, overdosed, and died 5 years ago when she was only a mile from the hospital, and with bystanders that were there and did not jump in to help her. So we made the decision the year after she died in 2018 that we were going to take our technology and try and purpose it to prevent this kind of situation from happening. So we started with the educational and informational side of our technology by offering content, education, support groups. And we started pilot programs at the end of 2019 and early into 2020 with collegiate recovery programs like Kennesaw State in Atlanta and University of Alabama, along with treatment programs that were using our technology to offer extended care once you had exited rehab. So they were doing all of this digitally and providing their clientele with greater accountability, greater support, better education, all with the goal of attempting to reduce the relapse rate and improve recovery. Then we had this little thing called the pandemic that intruded in our pilot program in March of 2020. So we decided to put those programs on hold. We took our technology and we pivoted into the virtual event space, attracting the attention of a major U.S. carrier who now uses our technology for their event management solution, and came back to it at the beginning of this year, primarily predicated on just the overwhelming rise in fentanyl deaths and could we make a difference. So we figured out the secret to unlock that data from those wearable devices, use our portal technology to do all the peripheral things that I just talked about, creating a contact list, alertings, directing help. And now we're building out the mobile app to support that. So that's how our journey began. And I'm sure I'm no different than a lot of mothers and fathers that lost a loved one, that have either founded a nonprofit, they've started a technology company, but they have a personal attachment to making sure that we improve the safety of our adolescents and young adults who make one bad decision and it costs them their lives.
No, absolutely. So basically, I can give my team an Apple Watch with your software on it, and I will know, I can get notifications that their heart rate has slowed down or stopped.
Right. So the key indicator of overdose is that your heart rate does two things. One, it goes through the roof to start with, and then it starts dropping off. And then the follow-on of that will be your breathing rate slows, your brain is deprived of oxygen, and that creates an overdose death. So yes, you will get an alert if we see that data outside the range of normal, and we'll establish a normal range for each individual, or you'll be alerted if for some reason we stop receiving data. So you may have taken your watch off and you're charging it, or your mobile phone is too far away from your watch to be synced up. So you'll get alerted on a continuous basis if we detect any kind of problem. And you pair your mobile app, our app, with your watch or your fitness tracker, and that's how it works. They need to be in proximity to each other to work, but there are probably 90 million people that wear either a fitness tracker or a smartwatch. They wear them all the time. And you can't find an adolescent or a young person that doesn't have this thing right there with them. So, so we have lots of kind of fail safes to let you know what's going on with that person.
Well, I think that's fantastic. Now, Amber, your technology helps in a mental health space, correct?
Yeah, it's basically just offering the capabilities of connection with the device, but not offering all of those outside influences that are harmful to kids, you know, between social media and browsers and influencers, all these things that kids have access to now when they get a phone or any type of device, really. And now it's everywhere. But and we can't eliminate it all. But as a parent, I can, and one of the things that we refer to in our company is scale back what they do have access to. I have the capabilities to be able to offer a connected service limited to whatever app that we approve on that device for our kids to keep them safe from those outside influences that do have, you know, science has done many studies recently, and the research shows that it is affecting our kids' mental health in a negative way. And it's our job to do something about that. So for me to be able to say, I have the capability and the knowledge and the drive to be able to offer this for not only my kids, but all the other kids out there is an opportunity that is amazing to be part of. So I want to be able to say, this is a way for us to stay connected to our kids, to keep our kids safe, to be able to access our kids the way that we need to in the necessary levels, but not have all those extra things, and then have that negative influence that we, you know, don't want our kids to be able to have access to. So we just filter our devices down to where it's approved apps, and I would like to take it even further to have some of those apps be educational, you know, and like Carolyn's app, to be able to say, I can apply this to our device, and that could potentially save children's lives.
Oh, that's fantastic. So basically, it's a safe space for children, and you don't have to worry about it. I think that is so necessary, you know, especially because of even like things like YouTube Kids is not safe. And you would think that would be safe, but it is not. And I've heard stories. So I am so glad to see both of these technologies are out and can protect teens, preteens, as well as adults. With Carolyn, especially with the watch. I mean, I have my Apple Watch right here. So, you know, and I was like that even for my mother, who, you know, I don't have to worry about fentanyl, but she's older, so I can know if she's okay because she's so far away. And, you know, I'm quick to call a police check to see if she's all right, you know. So that would be good to know. She's in her 80s. Let me ask you about, as a parent, and you can decide who wants to speak on this first, but how does your philosophy as a parent complement you with what you do with technology? Like, how does that influence what you're doing? I know you have the personal story, Carolyn, but like, how does it complement you as a parent, or is it at odds with your parenting styles?
Well, I mean, I had an at-risk adolescent. So from my perspective, Laura started using when she was 14 years old, and she's been gone for 5 years. So you can kind of do the math and work your way backwards. I wish I'd had more technology at the time that she was in trouble. And I think had I had that technology, I would have been much more able to keep a location on her, monitor what she was doing on the internet, perhaps restrict her apps using an app like Amber's. But I feel like as a parent, our number one objective is to keep them alive. And so if technology does that, then, we should embrace it and not try and fight it, because the world has just had we had as much fentanyl back when Laura was 14, 15, 16, 17, as we do today, she would not have made it past 1 year of substance misuse. She would have been dead and gone a long, long time ago. So I'm grateful for the years I have, but I'm a big proponent of using the technology that we have to keep kids safe. And so it doesn't conflict in any way, shape, or form with the way I think parents need to monitor and parent their kids in the world that we live in right now.
Okay. Oh, I'm so impressed with both of these apps. Amber, with the children, what can they expect to see on Dragon Mobile?
So as of right now, we have it. It's very limited because it's just basically necessities. They have the access to call, they have the access to text, and then a few apps that are accessible for school purposes. But I'm trying to keep it as limited as possible. And as I'm adding more to that profile for those devices, I want to focus primarily on education. I don't want these devices to be a form of entertainment. It's a safety means. And our kids have access to entertainment and all of this stuff in so many other places that I want my basics to be, can I get a hold of my child? Do I know where they are? So location services, and can I reach them if I need to? A long time ago, there were, when I was growing up, we didn't have devices to be able to get a hold of anybody, or and our parents, I'm sure, learned, because they grew up in a generation that didn't have that either. They learned to let go some of that desire to stay connected. But because we have so much accessibility and connection and all of this technology that's been introduced into our lives now, our children have access to all of this stuff. I want to make sure as a parent that I am providing them safe access. It's not all access.
Right.
So to be able to say basics right now, and then as we add these additional things for our children, I want to make sure that they're an educational form or they're a helpful form for parents, and it's not a distraction.
No, I think all of that is so necessary. I'm going to show my age a little bit here, but when I was growing up, there was at 10 o'clock an announcement to parents, do you know where your children are? Do you guys remember that?
Yep.
So now with these types of technologies, not only do we know where they are, we know if they have a heartbeat, if they're having a problem. And I think I like it because, I raised my girls with the mindset of there's a war out there, whatever war you want to call it, drugs, whatever it is. And that is my job to keep them safe, right? And Carolyn, you said our job to keep them alive, because it has went from just safety to keeping them alive. So let me ask you, some people might be concerned with the level of monitoring and control that's represented in your products. How do you respond to this critique? Carolyn, you can go first.
Yeah, so and one of the things that we have to be really careful of is not stigmatizing the individual because they've got something weird on their wrist that says, hey, I'm an addict, or hey, my mom and dad are monitoring. So I think with your Apple Watch or your Fitbit or whatever, you're going to blend right into everybody else. They won't really kind of know what you're up to. And I think parents really need to have a discussion with their children to say, like, listen, this is a safety device. This is what it does. This is why we're using it. This is how I know if you decide to try and ditch it. And this this is the world that you live in. So I think knowledge is power. I wish I had done a lot more to educate my kids about the dangers that they were facing even back then. I grew up in a really small town in Georgia, West Georgia, and we didn't even have alcohol. So I was pretty undereducated about the danger of drugs and alcohol, even when my kids were moving into middle and high school. So I think that if you give your kids technology and they get it from you, then they understand that there's an obligation they have in order to use those devices. They have to conform to the rules that you give them in terms of the use of the technology and what you're going to do with that technology to make sure that they're following the rules. I mean, this is the world we live in. You go to work and people are monitoring when you log into your applications. They know when you're connected to Slack or chat. So this is just prepping them for what their life is going to be like as they get older and they have jobs and go to college and do other things. So again, I feel like we need to make sure that they don't feel weird about the fact that we're watching out for their safety.
Okay. Amber, what do you think about that question of monitoring children that people might be concerned about?
I think we have responsibilities as a parent, and being a parent, you have to be involved. You have to be able to say, I have the ability to educate you in these things and put you out into the world, but there's going to be a gradual process of that. So through that, from the very beginning to the time, they're born until they move out onto their own, and even beyond that, you are gradually introducing your kids into the world through your monitoring. I mean, you when they start walking, you are putting barriers up, and you're keeping them in a space until you know that they're okay to move on to that next thing, and you are monitoring them. And then as they go into school, you have your boundaries of what's safe for them to do and what's not, and as we get into technology and it's introduced into their lives and it kind of comes flooding in, as a parent, we have to say, okay, we need to educate you on this one, yes, so that you can be able to monitor yourself later on. But until that is the case, I'm going to need to monitor you at some level. So a gradual introduction, and it doesn't mean that we are like looking at every single message they send and every call they make and all of those things, but like gradual monitoring of, I'm not going to allow something that gives you free and open access to the outside world and everything in it, and access for those exterior things in life, for them to have access to you, whether it's people or technology or whatever it is. We have to be able to say, this is my job as a parent. I am here to protect this child. Until they are fully able to take care of themselves and protect themselves, I have to be able to monitor that. Education is going to be the biggest part of that. And it needs to be a gradual process. So as we introduce our children into this, we need to be able to say, my job, my responsibility is through this monitoring. And as they learn, they will be able to do it on their own.
Okay. So Amber, help our audience understand, is this an app or an actual device? Is it a cell phone? What is it exactly?
So yeah, our company is an actual like cell phone service and phones that are filtered. So we offer, it's like one-stop shop. You can get a phone device that's filtered and the service through us at a low cost.
No, that's
and
fantastic.
then we can apply apps to that filter process.
Okay. And Carolyn, yours is an app, correct? That you can add to any phone?
Yeah, so you can download the app, add it to any phone. You can use any commercially available or most commercially available fitness trackers and smartwatches. And when you sign up and put your family on it or your cell phone it. We'll let you know what devices are acceptable. So you'll see a list, and then you'll be able to pair that device with the app. But also, too, it's not just the app, it's backed up with an educational portal that's doing other things. It's giving you a personal calendar to put your commitment zone and allowing you to check in so we know that you're there. It's offering support groups that you access right from the portal. So this is not an AA or NA meeting. These are more mental health oriented or parenting support groups. It's providing lots and lots of content, articles, videos, and other materials organized into categories that you're interested in. It's reaching out, surveying you, getting responses back. So it's, very comprehensive. And, when you think about overdose prevention, which is, where we've started, that doesn't mean that's where we'll stay. That'll be our primary focus, but also too, those smartwatches and fitness trackers are giving us a lot more information that tell us about your anxiety level, your sleep patterns, your movements, etc., that we should be able to apply artificial intelligence against it to really see if you're okay, or maybe you're showing us the leading indicators that something is going to happen, that you might be more prone to substance misuse or suicide or other mental health crisis issues that we can actually predict and then alert on those in addition to overdose.
Okay. Let me ask you, Amber, what advice would you give to parents who are listening that may be concerned about children's tech safety? Not just that we answered the monitoring part, but tech safety in general. Basically, what advice would you want to give yourself when you first became a parent about this? What do parents need to know?
I think for advice that I would have given myself, this technology age, it came in quick, it came in fast and hard with everything new and accessible over a very short amount of time. So as it was all coming in, we all just kind of took it in. And I would definitely say, as parents with kids that are coming up into these ages where they are going to need a device, really start out small and very limited, and gradually work your way into some of this stuff, because it is very easy to kind of waterfall into all of it. My kids have devices, and from my oldest child to my youngest child, my oldest child is 16, and she was coming up when all of this technology was coming in and all of social media was coming in. And unfortunately, she had access to this stuff because it was an easy ask for a young kid. Hey, can I get this app? Hey, can I get this app? And at that early stage, we didn't even know as much on those things then to be able to say, well, I don't know if that's going to be safe or not. It was still new to us. So it was sure, let's try it. Sure, let's try it. And unfortunately, it has offered some, influences that I feel like it's hard to take away now. So where my younger, who is 8, I can say, no, I've seen these dangers. I'm not going to allow that on your device at this time. Let's look into some other things that could be potentially more safe and not as accessible for you. So as parents, I would suggest really research, really start slow. And if you don't absolutely need to, don't introduce this stuff to these kids, because it's not necessary. I want my kids to be able to go back to not being attached to devices all of the time, and I have my phones for my kids that I have them use for communication now. And they come home and they set their phone down, and I don't have to be like, hey, can you please put your phone down so we can have dinner together? It's just, there's nothing on the phone to be a distraction, to be something that is something they need to waste their time with. It's used for its purpose, and then it's put down. So start small, and then, graduate your kids when they're responsible enough to handle that.
That is nice to be able to actually see your children's faces
right
at the dinner table because they are putting their phones down. And, I was a former teacher, so, kids would be under the desk even with phones, and I had a nice little rule that, I'll give you 5 minutes in front of the class to, check your messages. And at the end of the class, I'll give you 5 minutes. But if you are on your phone while I'm lecturing, then I'm going to have a problem. You kept turning your phone face down. And they respected that. And I was in a tech classroom, so I taught television production. But yeah, that's great. We're running out of time, but I want people to know how to find your products. Amber, let us know, where do we find your products so that parents can actually get it?
So we have our website, which is dragonscellphone.com. And then we are on social media at Safe Dragon Phone. So either of those places, you will be able to access that.
And Carolyn, how do we find your product?
So our website is InterActLifeline.com, and you'll get a link over to Lifeline Connect from the website.
Fantastic. You know what? I want to thank both of you for joining us today. Hold on, let's see. I'm just waiting for, okay, there we go. I want to thank both of you for joining us today, and thank you all for participating and listening to Fentanyl Solution. We will be on every Thursday at 2 p.m. Sometime we're live, sometime we're pre-recorded, but don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We're at Fentanyl Soul, S-O-L, and our website is at fentanylsolution.org, and we also have fentanylsolutiongroup.org. You can always find our QR codes on our websites where you can donate, or on our social media where you can donate. It'll take you right to the donation page. And that helps us to keep spreading the word and awareness about the dangers of fentanyl. So be sure to leave a comment and to rate our podcast. Until next time, remember, you are the solution, and take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on this journey of awareness and compassion. Together, we can make a difference. This has been Fentanyl Solution, advocating for lives, inspiring change. Stay safe, and remember, you are the solution.